It's not time for you to be leaving just yet.
Huh? Well, I finished up all my work for the day, so what's wrong with me heading out of the office early and going out for the evening? I have plans to go meet with a friend of mine out on the town and everything. You want to complain about it or something, Angelica?
I don't believe that you're finished with all of your work quite yet, though. You've just gone and forced all the other coworkers to take on your tasks for you. And because of that, a lot of them are thinking that they'll have to stay late again and put in more overtime.
Oh, are you gonna try and preach to me about things this time?
No. This isn't me preaching to you about anything, actually. It's just that, well, you have everyone pretty upset over the fact that you've never actually done any of your own work.
I see. So everyone is going ahead and talking behind my back about me now? That's a little bit of a shock to me, considering I thought all of us were just so close to one another here. I think I'm gonna have to bring this up with my dad now. I'll let him know that I'm being picked on by everyone in this whole department. And as the new manager of this department, I don't think my dad will let you say things like that to me.
No, you really don't have to tell your dad about any of this. We're not trying to pick on you in any way. Rather, it seems to be the opposite way around here. None of us are wanting to do anything to make you feel bad in any way. We just have some concerns about you is all.
So you're telling me that people are not actually talking about me poorly behind my back?
Nobody is talking about you at all in that way, to be fair. None of us have ever been doing that, because we all know to come talk directly to you if we have a serious problem. However, I think that time has started to come, hence me talking with you about it right now. You always seem to want to show up to the office whenever you want and then go home whenever you want. And while in the office, you'll have everyone else in this department do your work for you as you sit there at your desk looking at your phone. We're not saying rumors or anything like that behind your back because we are all way too busy to do so with all your work being left behind.
Oh, so that's how all of you have thought of me this whole time? Well, to spare everyone else the might of my father, I'll only be telling him that you've been saying bad things about me in the office. I'm sure that my dad will become very upset by something like that. He might even have you fired soon. Heck, I could even fire you myself now. Or better yet, I can make you choose between being relocated or having your pay
Mind. I have not been saying anything bad about you, though. I'm just telling you what all of us think about you, and everything has been true thus far. I just want you to know that it's best if you started to do your own work from now on and act a little more serious about your job here.
pay cut in half. What? Now you're mad at me? I'm so scared. I've gone ahead and screenshotted all these messages you've been sending me, so you'd better start packing your things up and get ready to go.
Go right ahead and show him. I'm sure that after seeing how this conversation has gone down, he'll understand things a lot better and act upon them.
You think so? Well, then let's both be prepared. But just know that it's not me who's gonna be fired for this one.
Hey, are you Angelica from the General Affairs Department here?
Yes, that would be me. And who am I speaking to at the moment?
So that must mean you're the one that went out of line and started talking down to the son of the executive director and your new boss. Since you appear to not know a thing about the politics within this company, I'm going to have you moved out to the middle of nowhere to work.
Are you really sure about that?
I want you out of this office right now!
Excuse me, Robert, but from what he told me, your son has shown you those screenshots of the text that had happened between her and I, correct? No, if you had seen...
He sure did show me, and I'm not letting some kind of complete stranger like you go and preach like that to my son all the time.
If you had seen the conversation we'd had, then you would know that what your son has been up to is not okay. I'm not the kind of woman that really likes to preach at all to others about how to do their jobs and such, and that's why this time I chose to just text him about it, so that it would be all in a much more lighthearted fashion.
There is nothing wrong with my son, and even if he was causing problems for anyone in the company, you are all to look away from it and mind your own business.
What? Did you not hear about how he's been pushing all her work off onto other coworkers and then leaving the office to go home whenever he pleases? This is not the kind of situation where all of us can just ignore what he's doing. And the worst part of all this is that he doesn't seem to understand that what he's doing is wrong. He's not even willing to own up to it in any way.
Stop lying to me! My son is a perfect and kind little man! I've heard enough from you now, so get all your things off your desk and leave this office! I'm gonna make you head to that small office out in the middle of the country!
You're going to have me move to another office, all because of this? I think you'd best start thinking with your head on straight, Robert. The only reason your son was even hired into this company is because he's related to you, and now he's going around threatening other coworkers and with being fired by himself and his dad. As a working adult, does that not make you or him embarrassed by your guys' actions at all?
Ooh. Did you know that recently this company has been experiencing a lot of theft of materials from within its offices?
I know about that. I was the one that started to make those posters all over the building, warning people to be more careful with their things to avoid them being taken.
The person behind all that theft, it's you, right?
Huh? What are you even talking about?
Right? That's the reason I'm having you moved out to that smaller office in the middle of nowhere and your pay cut. I'm going to tell the company president that right now. I'm not going to tell him a thing about how you went against me and started to make nasty comments toward my son and then preach to him about his job.
Do you even have evidence of me stealing things from this office?
Well, I do happen to have some evidence, actually. I had a camera placed in the break room where I was able to see every corner of it, and I just happened to catch loads of videos of you taking things that are not yours.
You put up a camera in the break room? You do realize that the break rooms are separated between genders for a reason, right? There are shower rooms and everything in there, so that could be a huge problem for you, having put up a camera in there to watch over everyone. But anyway, I have not been the one doing any of that stealing. Could you show me those videos that you've recorded of me?
No way! There happen to be things in it of other employees in this company, and I'd like to keep all that private, of course. So I'm having the videos edited right now to remove all the people who have nothing to do with your crimes. But just know that you are in all of the videos clearly. I know that for a fact because I remember every instance of you stealing things.
This is my first time ever running into someone as awful as you. Are you not embarrassed by the things you're doing right now?
Things. You, even after all of this that I've told you about, you still have the drive to want to fight back? You already know you're finished, so all of this fighting from you is useless, and you're making yourself look like even more of an idiot. Go and clean off your desk right now, and then leave this office before the day is over.
Understood. Are you sure you don't want to talk with the company president about all of this before I leave?
The company president doesn't need to hear from me about how I'm having some low-level employee like you transferred to a worse office with worse pay.
Is that so? Well, all right then.
Hey! Get out of here now! It's too bad for you that you had to be born with only half a brain! Hey, I heard from my dad about everything, you know? He asked for you to get all your things together and get out of the office building. That must have opened your eyes to reality, right? You're a complete disgrace to this company.
I know. Once I've finished up my work for the day, I'm getting all my things together and leaving.
To be honest, I was hoping he'd just fire you on the spot, but my dad is a very nice man, so he let you off the hook by having you moved to that crappy old office building. You should be thankful that he didn't take things any further with you.
If anything, I feel sorry that a company like this had to hire such a man as he is. I suppose it was kind of him to only have me move to a different office out of his sight. I'll enjoy a new place of work now, and hopefully everyone there is a lot better behaved. I've become tired of having to care for the child that was only hired because of her connection to her dad, after all.
Such a pile of crap you are! But since you're going to be moving far away from here, I'll forgive you for that one. Good luck with life out in the middle of nowhere. I hope your life as a thief can be longer lived over in that office.
I'm not a thief, and I haven't been stealing anything from this office.
Right? Lie all you want. You even stole my wallet, right?
Huh? What are you trying to bring up this time?
I even had my wallet stolen by you. I saw it with my own 2 eyes, actually. I'll let my dad know about that before he leaves the office today.
When did I steal that purse of yours from you?
It doesn't really matter when it happened, right? I saw it with my own eyes, so that's all that matters.
If you saw it with your own 2 eyes, then you tell me at the time and place that it happened. If you really happened to see me stealing your purse in person, then you should know what day and time it took place.
It happened this week on Tuesday at 5:30 in the afternoon. At that moment in time, you came over to my desk and took my wallet from me while I was standing down the hallway. And that's when I saw you running off with it. I was on my way back from the toilet and everything. You really are the worst kind of person.
5:30 in the afternoon, huh? That is a very particular time for you to be able to remember that happening at.
Well, of course it is. I have a picture as evidence that I took of it happening, and it says the time it was taken in the picture's info. It says it clear as day, so there's no mistaking it now. You're not going to be able to talk your way out of this one, you thief.
A picture, huh? You're going to find that a lie like that won't be getting you very far. But go ahead and do whatever you want.
I'm gonna do what I like! I hope you find life hard at that other office when everyone there knows you as the corporate thief.
Hey, Angelica, tell me what kind of relationship you have with the company president.
Excuse me? Why do you want to hear that from me all of a sudden?
Right now, he's running all over the office building after coming back from that overseas trip he took, and he's yelling that he's looking for his granddaughter. Are you really the granddaughter of the company president? You...
Well, yes, I am. And what does that have to do with anything?
Why did you never tell me about any of that sooner? So you
Well, had I told everyone that I'm the granddaughter of the company president, everyone in the company would start to treat me way too kindly, right? So I've kept that a secret this whole time in order to keep balance and equality here. And luckily our last names are different from one another, so nobody would have ever been able to tell. And I was able to work free of judgment from anyone else here and do my best in my department.
You really are his granddaughter, so you really are related to the freaking company president. All right. I'd like you to come...
Well, that's what I'm saying now.
You to come back to this office building at once and return to your desk. You know...
Now. Huh?
You no longer have to put in any more time over at that crappy office. Come back here and return to your previous job. You should be able to make it back here before lunch, right?
Huh? What are you going on about right now, Robert? You told me yourself before I left that place that I was never to leave this smaller office ever again, and that I'd be working here for the rest of my life, right?
Right? Well, things have changed drastically.
Right? When you say things have changed, is that because I'm the granddaughter of the company president? I do not want to be treated special because of my connection to him. I'd like to work with my own strength here, and that means I don't have anything to do with my grandpa.
No, that's not what all of this is about. Now just hurry it up and get back here. I don't want this turning into any more of a problem than it already is. I'll go talk with the company president right now and try to calm him down for you.
I'm sorry, but I'm not coming back. I happen to have a lot of work that needs to get done over at this office now.
You are being a real pain in the butt for me now. Do you have any idea what'll happen if the company president catches on to what happened?
I don't care what happens. You're the executive director, so that's going to be your problem, not mine. But of course, he's going to be pissed with what you've done. He happens to hate when things don't happen according to plan, especially when it has to do with one of the higher-ups in the company.
You! I can see that you think you're all special now. This is your last chance. Are you really sure you don't want to come back to this office and make things right for everyone?
Even if I wanted to come back, I can't do it today. I happen to have a lot of work that needs to get done, and I'm not going back until it's all handled.
For frick's sake!
Robert, it appears that you were contacted by the company president. You told him that you had found me to be the one who stole your son's wallet, and that's why you had me kicked out of that office and moved out here.
I did tell him that because it's the truth! The fact that you had the nerve to steal my son's wallet! I even gave you a chance to come back after kicking you out, but you said no to it, so this will all be your fault now!
But you didn't have any evidence of me being the one to steal it, right? I don't think that it was the most brilliant idea trying to paint me as the thief, all just to have a reason to kick me out of there.
Are you trying to smart-mouth me now? You're a freaking idiot, Angelica! Samson happened to see you do it with his own eyes, and that's enough evidence for me. Also, with that camera I placed in the women's break room, I was able to catch you on it stealing, and I know for a fact that's you!
Then could you please tell me when it was that I was in the break room stealing things? You happen to have video evidence of it, correct? That should mean that the time and everything of the incident are on that video recording as well.
I have the time. This Tuesday at 5:30 in the afternoon. The time of all this happening is in the bottom left corner of the video, so there's no mistaking it now. You went into the break room while everyone else was just leaving to get back to work, and you started sifting through people's bags and jackets. You thought that was the perfect chance to get away with it all, right?
I see. Then this means that at 5:30 on Tuesday of this week, I was in the women's break room, right? There are no mistakes with any of that information, right?
Right, that's all correct. No mistakes. I can show you the timestamp and everything on the video recording later if you want. But it seems that your plan to steal everyone's things was never going to work out for you, huh? If you really want to think that this video is edited in some way to make you look as though you stole those things, remember that I was in the group of women walking out of there, and I didn't see you leaving the break room, so you were definitely behind all of this. Huh? Why are you asking?
I'm sorry to have to ask this, but did you talk with Samson at all about the time that video recording of me stealing things from the break room took place?
You asking me that? Huh?
Well, it just seems to me that there is something not quite right with all of this. From what Samson was telling me about me stealing his wallet, he said it took place at 5:30 in the afternoon on Tuesday. That's apparently when I went to his desk and stole his wallet. And if you think that I'm mistaken, he told me he took a picture of me stealing his wallet and all, and the time on it says 5:30. But even with that detail, you are telling me that all that time I was in the women's break room stealing from them? How was I in two completely different parts of the office building at the same time?
What? Wait a moment, I'm gonna have a talk with him.
Sure, go right ahead.
Hey, Samson, why did you not explain things to Angelica like we had both discussed? I told you that at 5:30 I'd be saying she was in the women's break room stealing things, right?
Huh? No, I thought we agreed that at that time she was going to be in my office stealing my wallet off my desk.
I never agreed to you saying she was stealing your wallet at that time.
This is your fault this time, Dad. Why are you going to try and blame me for you not telling her the right times we'd planned on? You were the one that messed up this time. You told me that we'd be able to do all of this easily and make her look like the thief so that we could get her out of this office without being caught.
And that's still the plan. I have been trying to help you get rid of her by painting her as the thief.
You're not helping me out, though. You totally forgot about the times we had agreed on.
But I had explained to you before how I have her recorded on the camera I placed in the women's break room and everything, right?
I never heard about all that from you. Are you kidding me? What are you doing? The only time we weren't going to have an alibi from the other members of this department was during the time I was with Angelica, right? And that all took place at 5:30, so you were supposed to give a time besides that. Now, when they're questioning me on why she was in 2 different locations at 5:30, they're going to find a hole in our lies and blame me.
You'll be all right. They haven't started looking for anyone just yet who was behind this, and they haven't even began asking for all the evidence we have. Now, for the time being, leave all of this up to me, and just stand by and wait for me to be finished with it, okay? Okay?
Huh? Are you trying to say that I'm getting in your way now?
Wait, that's not what I said.
Telling your own son to sit one out while you go and handle everything alone is the worst! Whatever, I don't care what happens to you now.
Robert!
Hey, you happen to be the granddaughter of the company president, right? I don't happen to have the phone number of the company president on me, so I'm going to tell you this so that you can tell him. The man that's been behind all of the theft within the company is my dad, Robert.
Excuse me? What do you mean by that?
I just told you what I mean. The man that's been going around stealing everything here is the executive director, my dad.
But you were saying before that you saw me with your own eyes stealing your wallet out of your office, right? You are starting to contradict what you've said before now.
I happened to make a mistake then. You and my dad happen to look very similar after all. Anyway, I want you to tell the company president everything I just said to you. Understood?
I do not want to become involved in whatever fight you're having with your father at the moment. And really, you don't have to worry about what's been going on with the company anymore, because the 2 of you will be getting fired here shortly. So maybe it's best you both just forget about whatever plan you've made to have a reason for me to be kicked out of that office and just make up.
Stood. Huh? Why do I have to be fired as well?
Well, that's because you've been the one going around the office buildings, stealing people's things from them. Let me tell you right now, everyone here has seen you stealing things off of their desks and out of their bags. That's why during these past few days, I've been going around gathering evidence of it and making an investigation. You did know that there are security cameras all over the office building's interior, right? Besides the break rooms, of course.
Oh. Huh? Security cameras? There were security cameras all over this office building's interior?
Yes, of course. And your father, the one who is the executive director for that office building, should have been aware of that as well. And, well, on multiple of those cameras, we have video evidence of you stealing. And, of course, the company president has watched through all the recordings.
Interior? Lies. These are lies, right?
None of this is a lie. You are most likely going to be sued by multiple different people for this now, so I'd suggest you find yourself a really good lawyer. But if you don't want that, then maybe you need to start giving everything you've stolen back to the victims.
Right? Well, it's not a problem for me. I still have my dad around to help me out of this.
Interesting. You were just going on about how he's been the one behind all of this, and now you want his help defending you?
Yes. My dad is a very kind man, so he'll forgive me for this. What? He's not answering his phone. What's going on here?
Did he go ahead and send you straight to voicemail or something? I'm sorry, but the company president has already gone and dealt with your father.
What do you mean? Then what am I going to do about this?
Well, now that your father, whose position you abused, is no longer around, there is nothing you can do. I think the first thing you can try doing is going up to everyone you stole from and try apologizing to them.
Shut up! I'm going to go and find my dad right now!
Angelica, I'm so sorry about so many things. Out of my own selfish anger, I had you relocated to another office building and your pay reduced. And I also tried to paint you as the thief.
That's right. And these apologies from you are well deserved. But being moved to another office building isn't that much of a problem for me. Everyone that's working out at this location are very nice people, and they've all been teaching me all sorts of things that even I never knew about the company. And the best part of it all out here is that there is nobody like your son here who was brought into the company because they're family and never get any work done and then turned into my new boss.
I can't really say anything to that now.
I know that. Now, is that all you have to say? You're not going to ask me to say anything to my grandpa as a way of having him pardon you or anything?
No, this was just meant to be me apologizing to you. I'm going to be leaving this company now, and on my way out, I'm going to apologize to every single person here for what I've done.
Well, if that's how you're handling things right now, then that must mean the company president tore into you pretty well, right?
I understand completely now why he was that mad with me. He was not going to take any of my crap from me, and he made that very clear. Just a bit ago, Samson ran into the room while he was yelling at me, and after he asked for me to leave his office, I could hear him tearing Samson a new one from the other side of the door. And when everything went quiet, the door opened and Samson walked out looking like a zombie. That's the first time I've ever seen anything like that.
All right. Not even I'm able to picture how upset my grandpa must have been with you both, and I happen to be his family. At home, he's yelled at my mom and dad all the time, but never in a way that zombified them. But of course, I am his granddaughter, and he'd never ever want to yell at me about anything at home. However, that doesn't mean he wouldn't yell at me like that when I'm one of his employees and I've screwed up as bad as your son and you have.
Well, anyway, know that I really am sorry about what happened. I promise that my son and I will never show up to this company again. That is a promise, okay?
All right, please do that. The company was made by my grandpa, and to me, it's a very important place. And so having two people as selfish and crazy as you around here will not be tolerated ever again, and I'll make sure of it. Goodbye. After that, both Robert and his son, Samson, were fired from the company and kicked out of the office building. The once prestigious position they held now seemed like a distant memory. The company president, a man who had always prided himself on maintaining control and order within his organization, had finally reached his breaking point. The chaos and corruption that had been allowed to fester under Robert and Samson's reign were far too much for him to ignore any longer. The financial scandal that had been uncovered was vast, and it had come to light that Samson had been misappropriating funds, skimming off money that belonged to the victims of the company's numerous shady dealings. He had failed to pay compensation to those who had been wronged, and when he was confronted with his debt, he showed little remorse or understanding for the severity of the situation. In fact, when the time came for Samson to make amends and pay back the victims, he was entirely indifferent. Instead of taking responsibility for his actions, Samson had the audacity to approach his father, Robert, and ask him to pay the entire sum. Robert, who had once spoiled his son without a second thought, was now faced with a difficult decision. For years he had always bailed Samson out of trouble, giving him whatever he needed to stay afloat. But something inside Robert had shifted. He realized that he could no longer enable his son's reckless behavior. Nor could he continue to allow him to live without facing the consequences of his actions. When Samson came to him expecting yet another handout, Robert flatly refused. "No," he said firmly, "you need to learn the consequences of your actions. I can't help you this time." Samson, furious and desperate, had no choice but to take matters into his own hands. With no other options, he turned to a network of shady lenders, borrowing vast sums of money to pay back all the victims. He was now drowning in debt, with no clear way to climb out of the hole he had dug for himself. His once carefree lifestyle had come to a crashing halt, and it was clear that he was going to have to live with the weight of his decisions for a long time. The fallout from their firing was nothing short of catastrophic for both Robert and Samson. They had been public figures, seen as pillars of the company and the community, but now they were nothing more than cautionary tales. The company president, in an unexpected move, reached out to express his regret. A few days after the father and son were fired, he issued a public apology for not having seen the corruption that had been brewing under his nose. He acknowledged his failure as a leader and vowed to create a safer, more open workplace where employees could voice their concerns without fear of retaliation from higher-ups. Meanwhile, things between Robert and Samson began to deteriorate rapidly. Neither of them could bear to face the world that had once admired them. The shame and guilt weighed heavily on their relationship, and they began to distance themselves from each other. Robert, now a man with nothing left, retreated into himself. He sequestered himself in his house, unable to face the public eye or even leave his home. He feared the stares, the whispers, and the judgment of others. For weeks he hardly left the house, spending his days in isolation, stewing in regret and self-pity. He no longer had the comfort of knowing that his wealth and power could shield him from the consequences of his actions. The walls of his home became his prison. Samson, on the other hand, found himself working the night shift. It was a far cry from the corporate job he had once known, but he had no other choice. He worked jobs that most men his age would have been too afraid to take on. The hours were long and the work was grueling, but it was the only way he could begin to pay off the enormous debt he had accumulated. His once high-flying lifestyle, full of luxury and excess, was now a distant memory. He had to learn to survive in a world that didn't care about his last name or his family connections. Back at the company, things began to change in the wake of Robert and Samson's departure. The employees, who had long been uncomfortable with the toxic atmosphere created by the father and son duo, began to breathe a sigh of relief. Without Robert and Samson around, the workplace became more relaxed, and the pressure that had once been so oppressive was finally lifted. People felt free to speak their minds without the constant fear of retaliation. The work environment became more collaborative, and morale improved significantly. The company president's apology, while unexpected, was genuine. He took full responsibility for allowing the situation to spiral out of control, and he promised to make the necessary changes to ensure that something like this would never happen again. He vowed to implement systems that would promote transparency, accountability, and open communication at all levels of the company. It was a long overdue shift in culture, one that many employees had been hoping for, but it was clear that it had come far too late for Robert and Samson. Several weeks later, I was approached by my grandfather, the company president. He asked me if I would consider returning to the head office to work there again. His voice was warm, but there was a hint of concern in his tone. After all that had happened, I knew that everyone in the office knew that I was his granddaughter, and that made me hesitant. I had seen how toxic the atmosphere had become during Robert and Samson's reign, and I knew that people would view me differently because of my connection to the company president. I didn't want to be treated any differently from the other employees, and I didn't want to deal with the rumors and whispers that would inevitably follow me around. So I told my grandfather no. I explained that I would much rather continue working out in the countryside where people didn't know about my connections to the company, and where I could just be myself. The people there were kinder, more down to earth, and they treated me with respect because of who I was, not who I was related to. I don't want to work in a place where I'm treated any better because of my connections, I told him. I want to keep working hard on my own merits. I want to earn my place and prove that I'm capable. One day I hope to be in your position as company president, but only if I truly deserve it. My grandfather looked at me for a moment, and then he nodded. He understood. He had always been a man who valued hard work and dedication, and he knew that my decision was based on those principles. I'm proud of you, he said. I know you'll go far, and I'll support you no matter where you choose to work. And so I continued my work in the countryside, content with the decision that I had made. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I was determined to prove myself on my own terms. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.